friend of a friend who thought they were having twins and ended up coming home with quadruplets.
Yeah.
Like, now that's a horror story that scared me. As soon as you hear anything like that about you might need extra tests or need a bit of extra monitoring or there's a concern, you instantly start Googling stuff. What does this mean? Is this something I've never heard before? Should I be worried? And like we say, of course, all the stories are, I had a real problem with this. Because the people that didn't aren't going on the internet to warn people.
Hiya, welcome to the Toddle About Show. I'm Bill Clapson.
And I'm Emily Clapson.
Today we're going to be talking about what, Emily?
Pregnancy, birth, kind of expectations versus reality.
Before we get into anything, like, subscribe and share. We need those bodies. We need those likes, shares and subscribes. So anything you can do will really, really help us.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Bill, but we knew we wanted kids. We'd already talked about it, and that was fine. Then you suddenly decide, yeah, okay, now's the right time. And we were very lucky that we didn't have any kind of issues or complications.
No complications, and actually, it was sort of life didn't really change.
And then all of a sudden, you're pregnant and you're gonna have a baby, and I was like, I don't actually know anything. Like,
I'm bringing another human home soon.
And obviously I kind of, knew enough, but there is so much out there that people don't talk about and so much to learn.
So I think I'm going to need you to lead this episode, like all the others, mainly because I don't know where exactly you want to be going with this, but there are lots of different angles and stories out there. You're only ever going to hear the bad horror stories.
Yeah. I think certainly in our experience, and then definitely never put us off or anything. But
any baby is great.
Yeah.
Babies are lovely, and I'm always happy to hear about any story a mother wants to tell me or a dad. But we generally, parents in general, just share the shit.
Oh yeah, the interesting stories, the tricky
went to
stories.
And had a baby, now come home.
Yeah,
you don't hear them.
And it's boring, isn't it? It's boring. So yeah, it's definitely something. When I was pregnant with Florence, was not not necessarily prepared for that. But hey, it's all fun and games, isn't it?
Have you got a horror story you want to share?
No, not our own.
No, our pregnancy is well boring.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I think the horror story you love to share is a very tenuous friend of a friend who thought they were having twins and ended up coming home with quadruplets.
Yeah,
now that's a horror story that scared me.
The dad was like, "You need to go home and buy 2 more car seats."
Yeah,
that's they had one child and they wanted to try for one more, and they went in and
congratulations,
magic, got twins. Oh God, right, I'm gonna have 3 kids. God, right, changes, and they've just and they got ready for it, didn't they? And they got all set up for having twins at home, and then the older sibling, and they went in and mum started giving birth, and they were like, great, right,
next
one. They were like, what do you mean next? They were like, yeah, there's another one in there. Oh God,
3
and they were like, yeah. Okay, right. Phew, that's over, because it was probably that easy.
Yeah.
And they were like, right, last one. They were like, what do you mean last one? She goes, oh, there's another heartbeat. There's another baby in there. So they went home with 4 brand new babies, and they were only planning on taking 2. Apparently, I don't know how this happens, but it obviously does. The babies were so small in the tummy, the heartbeats were lined up perfectly on each scan. It wasn't until due date they realised,
you can sort of spot them.
This family were ready to up their game to have 2 children, and now they've got 5.
Yeah.
There's a Reddit story there somewhere.
You have a plan and you have a certain way you think kind of pregnancy is going to go, and you just expect, particularly the first time, that everything's just going to be kind of normal. And not that things didn't go kind of right, but with Rory, there was, I can't remember what it was. Is it PAP A? I think I had was low, and they were worried that Rory would be quite small. So I had extra kind of growth scans, and from the first growth scan, they went, "This is not something we need to worry about. This baby is going to be absolutely fine." And actually, it then became an excuse for me to have just kind of a few extra scans, and was never.
We'd take a scan all day long, right?
Yeah, it was never an issue. But as soon as you hear anything like that about you might need extra tests, or you might, need a bit of extra monitoring, or there's a concern. Of course, you instantly Google. You instantly start Googling stuff. What does this mean? Is this something I've never heard before? Should I be worried? And like we say, of course, all the stories are, I had a real problem with this. Because the people that didn't aren't going on the internet to warn people.
No.
It's a bit like when you go to somewhere and you're looking at all the bad reviews. It's like, yeah, because the people that had a nice time are probably not worried about going on the internet and sharing that. It's always the people that have got a problem.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a lot of that just, there's so much information out there, a lot of which isn't relevant and you don't need to know, but just trying to kind of wade through some of the stuff you do need to know. And, and we've talked before about, the different kind of services that are out there and kind of people that support through, but, pregnancy and birth and kind of postpartum, and that's not going to kind of work for everyone, but there are people you can turn to.
So there's I've spoken openly about the pregnancy.
It's not our pregnancy.
I do get confused, right? It's about the I was gonna say situation, like the pregnancy you had, right?
Yeah.
And is it if you could turn back time now, what would you want to explore a little bit more?
Yeah, I think we maybe have touched on this before, but I wish I knew more about hypnobirthing and kind of the concepts of that. And I think
it is a naff name, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know you've talked about this before with, kind of with
we've had Larry in there, we've had
experts,
all sorts of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely. I think there's elements of it that probably we're doing. But yeah, that's the one thing I would have done differently.
Yeah. And not necessarily that we wanted a doula, but you could have spoke to one and she could have confirmed any myths or but the one thing that we were very good at, and I took a leaf out of your book, is that it's okay to push back. I'm not a doctor or a midwife or a nurse, but I did ask all the questions and I was that little bit of a gatekeeper for you.
Yeah, and I think I sort of vaguely knew what a doula was, but not properly.
A doula?
Yeah, not properly. I certainly didn't think it was something that was as accessible as it is.
No, to be honest, I thought it was for the rich and famous, and
maybe a bit more popular in America,
they're not cheap, but they're not crazy.
No, and it also until very recently kind of have learned that actually you can have kind of doulas or kind of support at different phases. So you might have someone that supports you through your pregnancy. You might have someone who supports you through the birth, and maybe both. But you might have someone who supports you kind of after you've had the baby. And I know we've had you work with a few people who talk about their job then is to support the mum.
Yeah. And
it's mum's job to look after baby. It's their job to look after mum, and that kind of extra help you get, particularly if your partner isn't available. There's lots of people who just can't kind of take the time off, or if you have had a birth that takes longer to recover from, then just knowing that support is there, it can be invaluable to people. And I say it was well after we had both of the kids that I found out that even existed.
Another example when a doula was really useful to somebody is that I knew of a husband and wife have been posted miles away from their village, miles away from their family network because of their job in the military. She's there on her own. He's in the army doing army stuff.
Yeah.
And she just needed someone to be there through the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like the doula was great because she was like step in mum, auntie, sister, like advocate. Like it was a perfect opportunity to someone to say, can you just be with me during my pregnancy? And I think she actually was there on delivery. This doula didn't deliver the baby, but she was there to help.
No, and doulas aren't
but they're
midwives,
they're not midwives. So I know some of them are.
Some of them are, yeah. But
the she was there to advocate and just hold their hand and rub their back, like we're told, like the partner's job, like.
Yeah, and and we'd obviously we've talked before about we were we had a kind of a birth plan, and we knew what we wanted, and then you were very kind of capable of kind of advocating for me. There's a lot of people who kind of aren't, but there's also, I think, a lot of people that don't know what you can and can't advocate for.
Well, I think we should just dive into this. We've spoke about this story a couple of times where I needed to step in and speak up for you. Like, we won't go into the nitty gritty, but ultimately the midwife said, we need to get the doctor. Emily needs an epidural. Now, on the list of pain thresholds, that was the last resort for you. That was on
it wasn't a no, but it was a can we avoid it?
Can we avoid it? And like we started in the water, we come out, you were monitored so you can get back in, did your pethidine and all this other stuff like every labour induced has. And they were like, right, she needs an epidural. And they said, oh, can you sign this? Like, Emily's full of drugs right now. And I just asked the question, will it fix the problem? And they said, no. Might not. And I went, I don't think we want to do this. If it's a might. They were like, the question was, will it fix the problem? Will all the pain go? And they said, no, not necessarily. And I said, well, she's fine how she is then. Like, if it was going to be red carpets, clean sailing, no more feeling, I would have probably said yeah. But I'd said it's on the no-go list. We need to stay away from the epidural. And I just was like, well, I'll take it in the neck. I don't think we should be doing that. And not everybody would feel comfortable in pushing back on like that. But I was like, from our birth plan and our conversation, it was no, thank you.
Yeah, and I think again, having learned this since having children, there's a lot you can say no to when it comes to kind of your birth and kind of the lead up to it. Like, you don't have to have a sweep if you don't want one. You don't have to be induced if you don't want to. And obviously there's there gets to a point where it's medically advised, and obviously that's something you talk to with your midwife, but you shouldn't have to feel pressured into doing any of that. Even when you're in birth, if you don't want to have kind of examinations, you don't have to have them. Just because the midwives and the doctors say, well, we do it every kind of 4 hours. You can challenge that if you're not comfortable. And
what people need to remember is that these doctors, nurses, and midwives, they're doing this every day. Like, the language they use is pretty blunt.
Yeah,
and because they're seeing hundreds of patients,
and they don't know you
every day, and they don't need to get to know you and your personality, because you're in and out. Like, we're just a number. Like, whereas, like, it's okay to question it. They were like, right, a sweep might help this. Let's just get her booked in.
And great, if that's what you want to do.
And like, some people will just go along with it, which is absolutely fine. But you are allowed to say, can we just take a breath a minute, and can we just like hold off this one?
Yeah.
Like, until it start getting dangerous. Like, there's lots of people out there and lots of resources to find out what's medically advised. But like some people like, just get this baby out. Other people just want to like carry on, and you can say no. Can we talk about this a little bit more?
Yeah. Is it medically necessary that this happens? Or and I
think we need to be careful where we walk it, because we're not medically trained.
No.
And the doctors, midwives, and nurses are brilliant.
Absolutely, and they
will never put anybody
job
in danger. But some of these things are uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, and some of these things are optional, and that's kind of the point.
They're not necessarily told that they're optional.
Yeah, and particularly in the moment you maybe don't know that, and that's just where I think doing that research and having a bit of being armed with some of that knowledge, you and your birth partner, I think is kind of something that it isn't something that I would need to change about my experience, but it's definitely something I would push people to kind of understand more about.
Yeah.
And I think the only other thing I wish I knew was kind of trust yourself more, particularly with first baby.
You know your own body, right?
Yeah, and with Florence with the first baby, I think you don't really know what you're expecting. You don't know what any of it feels like until it's happening, and you have all these figures of when you have 3 contractions in 10 minutes, and when they last for longer than a minute, you need to come in. And the first time we went into hospital, it was far too early, and we got sent home.
We got sent away, didn't we?
And thankfully, we're close to the hospital, and we could go home. But I think even when we went back in, I wish I'd stayed home longer. I wish I'd just stayed in my own space to the point where I genuinely felt like I kind of
thought like I was there with my watch, and I was timing it. I was just like, these are 3 in 10, is it? 3 contractions in 10 minutes.
Yeah, as long as they last kind of more than a minute.
Yeah, I was like, we're gone.
Yeah,
but like,
because you're so eager, you're so keen to kind of get going, meet baby.
But also, we need to throw it out there. Hospitals are boring.
Hospitals are really boring, and they're hot.
Yeah.
Oh, they're hot. Florence was born in the middle of January, and it was so hot.
Well, we need to keep it at an average of 9 billion degrees.
And I totally get that. The babies absolutely need that. I did not.
Yeah, no wonder everybody walks around in paper uniforms.
Yeah, and just, and we still weren't in there for, I know there are people that are in hospital for days and days, and we were not. But yeah, the second time I definitely felt, when I was pregnant with Aurora, I definitely felt more equipped to understand what I could deal with and at what point I needed to go and get support, to go and get the gas and air and we were in hospital for a much shorter amount of time with her. But then, I'll tell you what, the biggest shock, and this is going to sound ridiculous. Obviously, you have this baby. Of course you do. Like that, has to come out. And then the doctors go, okay, off you go, bye.
Have a nice day.
And I remember being at home with Florence and going, I don't know what to do with this baby. Like, someone's just let us leave.
Yeah.
And it's, you plan so much for kind of the birth and for pregnancy, and then of course you do, you do know what you're doing, but yeah, it does suddenly feel like
it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They've let me look after this tiny human, and those first few weeks, there was definitely kind of lulled into a sense of security around sleeping. They sleep really well for the first few weeks. It doesn't last.
No, we lived in a house where their nursery was downstairs. We were like a short flight of stairs down to the baby room, and it was, I'll go downstairs again. Like,
when she was a bit older, yeah.
I was just like, oh God.
Yeah, I didn't think that one through.
We've got 100 stories between birth and where we are now, right? Like there's the girls are great, and we love Florence and Aurora more than anybody could ever put a number on. Like, it's do I want any more? Like, I've been very open about my thoughts and opinions. There is no more. We made that decision to have a vasectomy. We had that conversation because where we are and where we want to go, like the experience we had with Aurora through lockdown and the sleep regressions and the problems, and they weren't problems. They were just, and I was just like,
life, yeah.
Like I don't think mentally I could go through that again. I knew that's my moment of when I said, I can't put myself back through that. As much as like the pregnancy and the journey was easy, like it was as difficult as a pregnancy can be. Like it wasn't hard, it wasn't easy, it was just being pregnant. For you, like the next step, I was just like, do you know, this bit's really hard, and like, obviously you did break your foot and breastfeeding and all this other stuff, and I was just like, I don't think I can do this again. I've got these two. Let's just put all our time and effort into these two. Like, please, let's not do this again. But like, and like, it wasn't a quick decision either. Like we spoke about this for a number of years.
Yeah.
Coming out of the back end of lockdown. But then I sort of said, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of had always said, and this is nothing to do with the individual kids themselves, but I'd have a first baby again. Like,
yeah.
that, like, when you've just got you and this one baby to kind of look after, and you know what, you've had a hard night, stay in bed all day. Like, it's not easy. Babies are not easy. Any baby's not easy, but just the kind of the flexibility you get with a first baby, and with when you're pregnant with that first baby, you just have yourself to kind of look after. And then you do it again and you go, oh, actually, yeah, this is a bit harder. Oh, this is a bit more tiring. I have still got to get up because I've got a toddler to feed. I have got to get them to nursery or wherever. And it definitely gets harder. And I think I didn't know I was done. And I don't know if that's because I kind of, when I was pregnant with Rory and when we had Rory, I didn't know that it was like my last pregnancy. Like, a lot of people kind of go, right, I'm pregnant now. I already know before the baby's here that I'm done, and this is my last one. I don't know if it's because I never kind of thought that.
Yeah.
I've never felt done. I don't want us to have another kid now. Obviously, we can't. But I don't know if I ever felt finished. Even now. Like, I've never had that feeling of, oh God, no more.
Yeah, I've felt that.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm totally on board with it. But lots of people talk about that. And I knew.
We're a team Clapto, right? And we've got a great village. And I just felt like someone said to me, "Oh, like if you and Emily thought about a third," I think that's when my heart jumped out my mouth. I was just like, "No, we haven't thought about that." And I need to have this conversation.
Well, they have, but not in a good way.
I need to have this conversation with her right now.
But I think, I think I expected to feel done, and I never have. Yeah. But I don't regret not having another one. I don't wish we'd had another one. I just never had that feeling that a lot of people talk about.
So we've covered quite a lot of ground there. I've got a quick question. How do you react to a friend who doesn't have children, but they say, I know what you're going through, I've got cats? Or, yeah, like, oh yeah, I was kept awake all night because my dog was barking.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, those people are not my friends. Those are not my friends.
I know it's happened to us a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I've just gone, what planet do you live on? I
know when we first got a dog, and when we got Eric, he was kind of teeny tiny, far too young to actually have been taken away from his mum. And at the time, and I still stand by this, at the time I said having a puppy at that age is harder than having a baby, because they are just so needy and you can't take them with you, and like just all the drama of it, but it's for such a short amount of time.
As a puppy.
Yeah. Like that, when they can't be left alone for more than like an hour, and they, and you need to let them out for a wee like 3 times in the night. And those few weeks of that were far harder than having children. But it's a couple of weeks. And I don't know if cats are the same or not, but
I remember
in the
someone
grand
saying it
scheme
to
of
me.
things,
I was
no.
like, can you not refer to your pets in the same vein as my newborn children, please?
Yeah, no.
Well, we're on the same page there.
We are.
We're on the same page there.
It's not, no. It's not the same. Oh, yeah, I know. I slept really badly last night as well. Not the same.
If you've got any questions and you want to like explore some more, reach out. We're a very open book, and we've got other parents, the ambassadors. I know have got a lot to say. If you want to meet up, you want to catch up, you want to meet us online, and just vocalize some points, or you've got a horror story that you want to tell us.
we love a horror story.
Right, send it in. You can catch everything at bill@toddleabout.co.uk, and we may be able to start up a bit more of a Reddit style podcast and sort of to talk about what other parents are going through.
Yeah, and we'll obviously make sure all of the kind of links to kind of
Everything
advice
with
and
reference,
support is available, and there's loads of great people out there. Just reach out.
You're not alone, but thanks very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Okay, see you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm an antenatal teacher, newborn care specialist, and a breastfeeding counsellor, as well as a holistic sleep coach. I've worked with families and babies for 29 years now, and I absolutely love supporting families as they prepare for and welcome little ones into their lives. What I wish every first-time parent knew before having a baby, well, lots of attention obviously goes into preparing for birth. Not always so much for after baby is actually here. So I think it's important to try and prepare for both, as that fourth trimester, the first 3 months after your baby here, is still a huge transition. You're both, and yourself and your partner, as well as your baby, are adjusting to this new way of doing things, a whole new world, and it's surprising how much time a baby can take up and how tired you can actually be. So I would always try to remember that the first few weeks, particularly around the first 6 to 8 weeks, can be quite tough, but around then things start to ease. The fog starts to lift a bit, you're starting to feel a bit more yourself, you're usually noticing some patterns with your baby in terms of their feeding and sleeping. But I'd say accept any help and plan ahead for this postnatal period during pregnancy as part of your birth preparation. Newborns can be unpredictable, and routines don't need to be rigid in these early weeks. Just spend this time getting to know your baby and establishing feeding, as that can take a little bit of time. It could be relentless at the beginning, but it's worth putting the work in at the start and ensuring that all is going well, and usually everything else falls into place. Sleep to start with can be completely chaotic though. Babies can't stay awake very long, but they don't always sleep when they're tired and need some help. Day and night confusion is very normal, and evening fussiness is incredibly common. Contact naps and needing lots of soothing and holding are very normal newborn behaviours. Their nervous systems are very immature and they need us to regulate and help them feel safe. And you might also feel very emotional, overwhelmed and unlike yourself. This is normal. Your hormones are all over the place. You've just given birth. You can love your baby enormously and still find it incredibly hard. It can be exhausting, relentless, but also amazing. Both can be true at once. In terms of subsequent pregnancies and babies, this can be very different because pregnancies can be different to each other, particularly if you're not getting as much time to rest and prepare because you're juggling parenting already and maybe being back at work. A second or subsequent baby can be different both emotionally and practically. You might feel more confident because you've done it before and you kind of know what to expect, but you can also be more tired because you're parenting your other child and there can be some guilt around whether you're giving both enough attention. Remember, you don't always get the same, well, you rarely get the same baby twice. Their personalities can be very different. So try not to compare your babies to each other. You might have had a baby to start with who was very laid back, slept beautifully, and then have a second baby who just wants to be held all the time and is really sensitive, or the other way around. This can be hard because obviously you don't just have one, and you're trying to factor in giving both children the time that they need, and you can feel guilty that neither are getting the best version of you. But it's okay for them to have different experiences to each other. So try to go easy on yourself. Try and involve your older child or older children where possible. Accept any help offered, and particularly if that means that then you can give your older child a bit of one-to-one attention while somebody else is looking after the baby. It's really important not to push yourself too hard. We have very high expectations of ourselves, especially in life these days. We kind of expect women to recover from birth as well as care for a tiny new baby, and then get surprised that they're exhausted. So it's really important to lower that bar in normalcy in the first few weeks. As I mentioned before, accept any help you can get. Try and share the load with your partner. Your priorities basically need to just be your baby, yourself, food and rest. That's it. That's all you need to do. The housework can wait, visitors can wait, or they can help with the housework. Your baby's only going to be this little once, and this postpartum period, this first few months, is relatively short in the grand scheme of things. So I would just suggest bedding down in your baby bubble, just get to know your baby, ease into your new roles as parents, or if this isn't your first baby, as a family of 4 or more. It's a massive transition for both yourselves and your baby and your other children. So just try to go easy on yourself. Don't have too high expectations, and just really enjoy these early weeks where you can.